I'm Matthew, author, artist, and commentator, and these are my offhand remarks on reading to write. So I'm listening to a really intense audiobook right now, and I'm also reading another book that isn't available through Audible or any other app. So uh, I'm listening to these books, or I'm taking in these books, and everybody says you have to read to write. You have to read to write. I don't know where that came from, but I was thinking about it. Do you have to look at sculptures to sculpt? Do you have to, I don't know, look at paintings to paint? I mean, I guess you could look at a painting and try to deconstruct how it was put together, but I'm not really sure why there's the admonition to read so that you can write better. Because I don't know. I've listened to lots of different styles of prose kind of recently. Let me just put this here. I've been listening to. I listened to a 40-hour George Washington documentary, or not documentary, biography. I'm currently listening to a very dark book, very serious book. It's by Lionel Shriver. It's called "We Need to Talk About Kevin." You can look up what that's about if you want, but I'm telling you, it's a little much. But it's not like, I don't think it's gratuitous. I just think it's an adult book written for adults about like things that adults have to deal with in real life. So there's bad language and things like that in there. And while Luminous Beings books, my intention is for all my content to be G-rated. Basically, it doesn't mean I'll shy away from negative things, dark things, which this contains. But anyway, I looked up on Goodreads just what the book was about because I only had a credit or two of left, and I wasn't sure I wanted to read a book at all right now, or listen to an audiobook at all, or if I wanted to hold off to see if there was something better coming. But yeah, her style. Some people were complaining about how the book is written. It's written as letters of one person to another, and she uses very extremely ridiculous flowery language in some instances, and I see that voice of the character in the book as consistent with a certain type of woman who I have presuppositions about because I don't know rich white women from New York, or I guess she's not really white. Anyway, doesn't matter. Is Anita Sarkeesian white? Because if she is, then so is this lady. But I doubt she is. So anyway, anyway, yeah, so I'm listening to this, and I looked at some of the critiques on Goodreads just to kind of get a sense about the book and what I would want to read. And it's a really heavy, dark book. It's got lots of, I'm nervous listening to it because I know one terrible thing happens, or from the offset of the book, something, the particular terrible thing that happens. That's kind of the reason for the whole book to exist. And but there's all these other little things that scare me, that make me nervous about the character. So, great writing. There's good tension there. Just in a woman talking to her ex-husband or estranged husband, telling him about their life together in the past, and that's interesting. But this other book I've been reading, actually, it's a little psychological. It's kind of a self-help book, but I don't know if I would call it that. It's more an examination of like an anthropological examination of rites of passages and how people operate, and I guess the male psyche. So it's very psychological. But it's interesting in preparing a shadow font. After having started this book about the male psyche, I identified the archetypes that it talks about in Yu Yu Hakusho, which is the next shadow font that'll be coming out. And it actually makes me want to. I'm completely done with that shadow font, but I almost want to do another discussion of Yu Yu Hakusho in the context of this book, and I don't know where in my programming selection, I guess you could call it, in the 4 or 5 shows I'm doing, that would be a good place to explore that. But I don't know. I get that, had I not read that book, I wouldn't have seen those things, the construction of the characters in Yu Yu Hakusho. But is understanding the human psyche more important to telling good stories, compelling stories, than looking at other people's finished products? Because looking at other people's finished products, in writing, for example, doesn't really tell you how to make it. There are lots of people who love Game of Thrones, which I've never seen, Breaking Bad, which I've never seen, and who say that they're classics and just wonderful. And do any of those people, how many of the people who have looked at these things understand why they're good. And I don't think consuming, I mean, you can eat an amazing steak and not know how to make it. You get to enjoy the product, the finished product, um, and you can do that without knowing how it was done. You can be completely oblivious. You could not even know it's a cow that you're eating this steak, and it can still be seasoned perfectly and cooked just the right way and all those things. And there's nothing wrong with. I'm not critiquing people for not understanding the media that they enjoy. I'm not. I mean, far be it from me. If you don't understand what I'm making, but you still like it and you're giving me money, I'm happy to have this arrangement with you. It's great. It benefits us both. I like the writing. I like putting my stuff out there, and if you like consuming it, then that's great. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I think about this. Why do I have to read a bunch to understand how to write well? Isn't it more about, I guess, I mean, it should be read books about writing, shouldn't it? I don't know. I don't know. I might have to continue these thoughts later because I'm kind of floundering here. But it's just something that kind of hit me like, why? And so I have the biography. I have this dark fictional book that's very adult and very contemporary, very American. Then I've listened to recently a bunch of Star Wars books. I was listening to some King Arthur recently. That was actually free through Audible, which was cool. And I know I love the Wizard of Oz books. We were just talking about those audiobooks I was talking about them with my niece and my daughter the other day, and those are really great. Free on LibriVox. Check out LibriVox. They have a bunch of free audiobooks. They even have, which I wanted to check out, Zorro, which Zorro reminds me of Red Panda, which I've been listening to Red Panda for like 2 months maybe, and I'm like 40 or 50 episodes into it, and like Red Panda's written, but it's not written to be read. It's written to be acted out and to have the sound effects paired with it and things like that. And so I think the writing, the structure, the technique of that Greg Taylor has to use when he's writing that versus when he's writing one of his novels of Red Panda or Blackjack Justice is very different. It's a different skill set. Or maybe it's not very different, but it's a different skill set, and it takes distinct techniques for the distinct media, because you don't say certain things in an audio book or in a book that you say in a audio drama that's played over the radio. It's just they're different animals. They have different ways to convey things, and you don't do the long descriptions of things that you do in an audio or in a novel in the radio thing. You just kind of imply by the fact that two people are talking and their voices are going back and forth, or there's an echo or a shriek or whatever, and it has a different rhythm to it and everything, and a different structure. And I guess looking at the structure, like, maybe it's not you need to read a bunch to become a good writer, and of course I'm not a published author, so what do I know, right? But I'm happy to question the establishment and the authorities at every turn, so yeah, I guess I'm questioning that, and I will continue to question it until I'm satisfied, because I know that's what I want to do. I want to break things down and understand how they work better. Alright, well that's it. I'm going to go ahead and close out now. Alright, don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you can watch every video as it becomes available. Thank you so much for your time. If you enjoy my work, please give it a like and share it. If you'd like to chat, hit me up in the comments or tweet me at RC_MUN. Anyway, be well, and remember, don't curse that darkness, shine your light. Until next time.